the exits.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rachel Usry, and welcome to a special edition of the Fame Project. I'm thrilled to have you with us today as we dive into our next topic, which is Romolo Theater's next production of The Play That Goes Wrong, which premieres October 4th through the 13th. If you love comedy, chaos, and unexpected twists, this is a play you won't want to miss. As always, a huge thank you to our sponsors, Little Rome Theater, for giving you these fantastic conversations. This show is particularly exciting because we get to interview two Floyd County Schools employees. We're sitting down with the famed pathway teacher, Mr. Rick Williams, and later I'll be taking you on location to interview Coach Chris Parker at Coosa High School. So let's get started. Hi, Mr. Williams. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
So can you tell us a little about the play and your character?
The Play That Goes Wrong, it is exactly how it seems. A group of enthusiastic actors try to come together and put on a play as best they can, but one thing leads to another, and before you know it, the play goes wrong. It's an interesting play. It's almost a play within a play. I'm playing an actor named Chris Bean, who's actually directing the play in the show, The Murder at Havisham Manor. So as a director, he's playing the inspector who's in the show. So it's very interesting to be playing kind of two characters at the same time.
Must be challenging.
It's very challenging at times, yes.
So what drew you to this particular comedy?
I love comedy. I love slapstick comedy. I'm familiar with this company's work, the Peter Pan Gone Wrong. They have The Show That Goes Wrong on Amazon Prime that you can watch. And 2 years ago, I got to see this play on Broadway with not the original cast, but it was just so funny. And then when I saw it on the season this year, I was like, I'm auditioning. Clear my calendar. I'm going to audition for the show.
So what makes this stand out from other plays you've been a part of?
The play within a play aspect, definitely for one. I haven't done one of those yet. And the amount of physical comedy in this show and the timing and the cues and the set doing its own thing. The set is its own character in this show. So this is very different from a lot of the straightforward comedies or musicals that I've been a part of in the past.
So what's one moment in the play that you think the audience will find particularly surprising?
They're going to be surprised on how simple yet complex the set is. And I think a lot of people, when you go see a play that's called The Show That Goes Wrong, they're going to be sitting there trying to figure out what exactly is going to go wrong and what can go wrong next. Right. And I think it's going to be surprising where they're going to be looking and go, oh, I had no idea that could possibly go wrong. How did that happen? And I think that's what they're going to be surprised about.
Have there been any unscripted moments that made it into the play?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a great part of the rehearsal process. We get to play with each other, the other actors, and figure out little bits and little gags that work. And so there's some stuff that is not in the script that we started randomly doing. I'm like, you know what? That is funny. Let's keep it in there. And that happens throughout the show. Each character has got like their one little thing that they bring. Each actor, each castmate of mine has like their own little moment of brilliance that they have that like, that's not in the script, but you know what? It's really funny and it works with your character. Let's just leave it in. So it's fun.
So comedy is all about timing.
Yeah.
How do you approach comedic timing on stage, especially in a live setting where the audience reactions can vary?
Timing is hard, especially in comedy. If you are 1 second too late or 1 second too early with your punchline, it just does not work. It is not funny. So rehearsing over and over again, trusting your fellow castmates to let you say your lines when you're supposed to say your lines, or let something breathe a little bit. That always is a huge, huge help. And audiences vary a lot. Sometimes you say something on Friday night and it gets the biggest laugh. Then you say the exact same thing on Saturday and it's crickets out there. And I think that just comes with experience on stage, knowing when your audience is not really not into it. That's not the right thing to say, but it's more of they're going to laugh a little harder than the next one. So you have to kind of keep the show kind of going in a way. So learning how to do that by rehearsing and doing as many shows as possible, you learn to really feed off that audience and, oh, okay, we know, we see where we're going here. We can push it a little bit. They're getting it. They're having a good time. So that's where it really, it helps to have that experience.
Okay. So what's your process in finding the humor in your character?
Oh my goodness. The Chris Bean character, the director of the fake play, The Murder at Havisham Manor, is very interesting because he is the straight lace. I want everything to go right because I'm directing the show. I am proud of the show. So a lot of the other characters in the show are exactly what they are. They're characters. They're caricatures. So they have these big, bold movements and physicality, and Chris is just trying to keep everything together. So I think the humor from him comes from those moments where things start to unravel and you start to see him losing his mind and trying to keep things together. And I think that's where those little subtle bits of comedy will come in.
Okay. So this is your fourth show working with Coach Parker.
Don't remind me.
So what is it like with him as a director?
Working with Parker is fantastic. We have the same sense of humor. So a lot of our little comedy bits, we get each other, a lot of movie references and stuff like that. So it's great. He really allows us to play and just have fun. It's like, let's, just see what happens. Let's try it, see what happens. And it's always great to have a director that's kind of lets things happen organically,
right,
instead of being told, hey, you need to walk over here at this line and stand there and then turn 45 degrees and say your line this way. It's not like that. It's more organic, and that's what I really appreciate in a director.
All right. So how did the audience reaction shape and affect your performance, especially in comedy?
Like I was saying before, if your audience is really raucous and having fun, it's just gonna give your energy. Actors, we do feed off the energy that's in the crowd. It is palpable. You can feel it if a crowd is into it or it is not. The hardest part is when a crowd is not into it. You think your instinct is to slow down and to make sure they get stuff, and that is the exact opposite of what you got to do. You just got to push forward and say, hey, this is the train, you better get on it. And eventually those crowds will start turning around. But it's working over and over again with different crowds and learning when that beat comes, when that laughter starts to die down, when to pull them into your world is the hardest part.
So how do you handle nerves or stage fright, particularly when performing live comedy? What energy and feedback are immediate?
Nerves and stage fright. I've been doing this a long time, still get nerves. I am a pacer. I will just walk backstage over and over again and not talk to anybody, just walk. I walk about a mile before the show actually starts. It's just my process. I just do it. But once you get on stage and you're under those hot lights and you see, hundreds of pairs of eyes staring back at you and laughing and clapping, it just energizes you, and it's a great feeling.
So what's the most rewarding element of acting and performing?
Again, the audience reactions. It's just great. I love making people laugh. It is my favorite thing to do. So having people just laugh and laugh and laugh is the biggest reward I can possibly get.
So how do you get along with the rest of the cast?
Oh, the cast is great. I've been working, this cast is a great mix for me personally. I'm working with about people that I've never met before. I get to work with people that I've been like in 4 straight shows with. And I get to work with somebody that I've been best friends with for 20 years working with. So I have this great mix of all the people, and we all get so along. We all have the common goal of to be as funny as possible, and we lift each other up and help each other with bits and stuff like that. So we are a tight-knit little family.
That's nice. So for our final question, what's the best part about performing at Roma Little Theater?
Again, just to reiterate, it's like a family. It really is. You gain lifelong friends there. We raise our kids in the theater. My kids are just running around during rehearsal. Everybody's watching everybody else's children at times. And everybody from the crew, the cast, the production team, it's just great. It's like our happy place. The theater is our happy place.
Well, thank you very much for this interview.
Well, thank you for having me in my own classroom.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure discussing the play that goes wrong and getting insight from an actor's perspective. Now let's switch gears and head over to Coosa High School, where I had the chance to sit down with Coach Parker and to hear about the show from the director's point of view. I'm here at Coosa High School with Coach Chris Parker, director of Roma Theater's production of the play that goes wrong. Thank you, Coach Parker, for sitting down with us today.
Happy to do it.
So what made you want to direct this particular comedy at Roma Theater?
Well, the play that goes wrong is obviously about a play that goes wrong, and I've been around enough productions that have had something go not quite right that I understand the inherent comedy in it, and I think the audiences will enjoy it as well. It's, there are times when you see something go wrong in a play, and you feel bad for the actors. In this case, we're all in on the joke. We're all enjoying it, and I think it makes it a unique piece of art.
What makes this play stand out from all the other productions you've been a part of?
This is one of the most difficult because there are so many things we have to get right. So, just getting the lines and the acting down is one thing. There's so many technical pieces and so many things happening at the same time, and so much coordination. It's a huge challenge. I think they've done a great job coming together as a cast to meet that challenge, but it's definitely different.
For sure. How would you describe the humor in the play?
There's a bit of slapstick. There's a bit of that kind of schadenfreude, laughing at someone's misfortune. There are definitely there's some wordplay that can be fun. It's got a lot of different types of humor in it, but I think especially if you like any kind of British humor, since that's where it originated, I think you'd probably enjoy this.
What's one moment in the play that you think the audience will find particularly funny or surprising?
Well, I don't want to give away any of the surprises. I will say that there are some things that happen during the play that you may wonder how we would ever come back from. So I just hope that we can get through it without anybody else getting hurt.
Okay. So comedy can be tricky. How do you approach directing a comedy play versus a drama?
So I actually approach them very similar. The thing that makes comedy work for me is it, in the minds of the audience, it still has to be real, right? So we don't. It's like when somebody makes an inside joke that we're not in on, or somebody does a dad joke, we kind of laugh like, it's a funny dad joke. But a good comedy in the world of the actors, it's still real. Now, you still work gags in and work jokes in, and you work on timing, but in the mind of the actors, there's still the same kind of. There's still a question of motivation. There's still a question of what's my objective and my super objective, and why am I doing what I'm doing here, and what is my natural reaction to it. And so you build on that. It's just sometimes in comedy it's a little bit bigger, a little bit sillier, but it's still, for me, it's still very much the same basic groundwork when you start building the performances.
So comedy often relies on timing and chemistry. How do you foster that with the cast?
I am a big believer that the more natural the cast is around each other, the more likely they'll find that timing together. There are some directors that like to specifically plan each thing, but to me, theater is a collaborative art, and the director's job is really just to kind of help everybody get to their performance, and then maybe provide some vision. So I try to give them as many opportunities to get to know each other, to relax with each other, to have fun. And then we start pulling it back and centering it more focused as we get closer. But in the initial rehearsal period, it's just about getting everybody comfortable with each other so they understand how each other will react to things, and then they find moments there.
Are there any scenes that challenge you as a director?
The entire second act of this play challenges me as a director and continues to do so. But I think we've done a good job of reaching our goal here. I think we'll find out Friday.
What's the most rewarding part for you as a director?
I like having the chance to create something that. The thing about theater is it's fleeting, right? So if you make a film, it's there forever, and you can always. But theater, it's alive. It lives in that moment, and then it's gone. And so to create something that exists like that, and the people that experience, they now share something, and only the people in the room get to share it, because the people that weren't there are never going to understand it. So it's just a chance to create something like that I really enjoy.
What qualities do you look for when casting the actors for a comedy like this?
I look for actors that are willing to take chances, that are willing to do things that other people might be uncomfortable with. And I don't mean like gross things necessarily, but just willing to make bold choices and take chances and not worry about if it doesn't work. I look for actors that have a sense of timing, quick on the spot, quick-witted, that can improv, because I find that the improv process during rehearsal is where we find a lot of what works. But I also look for actors that are respectful of each other. So during the audition process, I'm really watching how are they treating each other during auditions, you know, or are they helping each other out, or is somebody trying to upstage somebody to steal the spotlight? Because that's not what I want. So that's really what I'm looking for. Looking at the whole person.
This is your fourth show working with Mr. Williams. What's it like working with him?
Wow, I don't know if I can say that on camera. No. Mr. Williams is great, and I think his students are probably fortunate to get to learn from him. I hope someday we'll find a way to work together as fellow actors in the show. Or maybe he'll direct me for a change. Maybe he'll allow me to make some choices.
Can you share a behind-the-scenes story from rehearsals or the production that gives us a glimpse into the creative process?
There have been a few moments where actors have, during rehearsal, just come up with something in the moment. And I don't want to give anything away, but there are a few gags that might appear unscripted because when they came up, they were unscripted, but because it worked so wonderfully, we've kept it. It's just everybody in the cast has contributed something to the show beyond their performance. You know, they've come together great as an ensemble, and it really has been a collaborative piece. I feel like probably more so than most of the shows I've had the opportunity to direct, I've had more cast input on this one than any of the previous ones.
What excites you most about this particular production?
Well, I'm excited in a nervous kind of way. Now, I think this is something that most people have never seen and are ever going to get to see. I think it's unique. You know, when you go see a musical, you see a musical, you know, each musical is unique, but you're still seeing a musical. It's very rare that you go see a play where things purposefully go wrong. And I think that uniqueness of it, I'm excited to see how people react to it, see how people react to things going wrong. Even though they know something's going to happen, what do they do when it happens? You know, do they get the humor in it? There's some things that I think will at least possibly startle or even frighten the audience for a split second before they laugh. And that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing those reactions.
Are there any elements that you're especially proud of in this play?
There are a few. I really like some of the work the cast has done with their timing, especially there's a scene where we call it the loop, and they've done a great job of building it themselves, and I've had to provide just minimum. Hey, let's keep that. Let's do it. So I'm really proud of that, in that it's one of my favorite examples of just let the cast do what the cast does, and they have done an outstanding job of just finding great moments in there. So I'm pretty proud of that.
And if you could give the audience one piece of advice before they come see a play, what would it be?
If you sit in the front row, don't get upset if you accidentally get wet.
Okay.
Or the first 3 rows, maybe. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Coach Barker, for sitting down with us and letting me talk about the play that goes wrong and letting our viewers into the creative process of directing a play. Now let's head back to the studio.
Thank you for joining us today again. It was a pleasure discussing the play that goes wrong with our guest. We are excited about this upcoming performance at Rome Little Theater from October 4th through the 13th, and you will not want to miss that. Be sure to visit RomeLittleTheater.com to purchase your tickets so you don't miss this hilarious show and the unforgettable experiences that you'll witness. And remember to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at fame_CCA for more content. See you at the theater.